kicked off. So, I mean, there's been quite a bit of activity that we've seen, not quite as much in recent years, but definitely, a lot of excitement to get things off and running. So, I know some of your subcommittees have already met in Zoom calls and that sort of thing, just to sort of get a jump start on discussing like how you want to proceed once the 89th legislative session gets kicked off.
For the live stream.
Oh, for the live stream. Can you hear me now? Okay. Well, once the 89th legislative session gets kicked off, we do want to be able to hit the ground running with all of those items because this is what the delegates have given to us to do. So with that, what I do want to have you guys do is we are going to break into our subcommittee groups. I want to make sure that everybody is meeting with your respective nominees, whether you are SREC members or whether you are grassroots experts or subject matter experts or just the interested delegate who wants to come and help us out, because honestly, this is going to be very important. So I want you guys to go ahead and break into those groups now, and we're going to meet. I want to set a timer for about 20 minutes to discuss any updates, any additional things. We can probably do, let's see here. So if you're how's this? If you're a priority committee chair, would you raise your hand? Okay. Priority committee chairs, will y'all stand, please? Okay. Priority committee chairs. Oh. Will y'all stand, please? There's a delay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So these are our priority committee chairs. And we want to make sure that if you are on one of their priority committee groups, yes, we can clap. They're amazing. We'll start with Deborah. Where do you want to meet?
Where I want to meet?
Yeah.
Around here.
Grab a spot.
Rachel, can y'all announce your group? Can y'all announce your
Yes. Deborah, no dem chairs, and ban taxpayer-funded lobbying.
Yes. So
Okay.
for the taxpayer-funded lobbying, I don't know how many of my committee members are here, but I've got Anthony Bay from Texas Fiscal Responsibility. I've got John Perez that had ran against Mano de Ala. Shelley Barrow that had ran against Mano de Ala as well. I've got Jamie Hayes. Oh, she's here. Is Jamie here? Yes. Okay, good. And I've got Gaylyn Devine. And I'm maybe looking for a couple more committee members. And so, and then on the European chairs, I've got quite a list. Some of them are not here, but have been very, very actively working. So on the Novium chairs, I've got Tom Glass that may not be here, Susan Lucas. I've got Clark Vincent, who has been amazing, sending out thousands of text messages, and we can get into all the districts to organize. Then I've got,
Well, tell you what, Deborah, let's go ahead and break into your group. So where do you want to meet? Do you want to pick a spot in the back of the room? Okay. Because I want your people to be able to find you.
okay.
That's the idea. Y'all ready? Okay, who's next?
Kristen that we taught socializing tech with kids. There's only a few of us here for the AFP, and I'm sharing JD
Okay.
with Deborah.
So pick a
I'll
spot.
pick right here.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Melinda Morris.
Hi, I'm Lynn Morris, Security Electric Grid. The subcommittee's here, and including Don Brown. We have Greg Murphy, our SB 14 committee man, Christiana Keeler, our SB 14 committee woman, Don Brown, who's a retired engineer who's been very active in energy legislation. He's also the co-chair of the Travis County Republican Party. And also on our committee is Shannon Johnson, who's the Deputy Legislative Director for Senator Bob Hall's office. So that's who makes up our committee, and we're meeting right here.
So, electric grid here. Janira.
Right, ban taxpayer funded lobbying. My members are Scott Bowen, Jeremy Story, and Ron Moore. And Walter West? Okay, we can do, I guess, here.
Great.
Do we just, how loud?
So yes, wherever you can pick a spot.
Sit here? Yeah, this is.
We're informal, pick a spot. Election integrity, Leslie.
Election integrity, let's go outside.
Okay, great. John Carr.
Mine is federal overreach, and I'm sharing Tom Glass with a couple others. And I want to thank you guys for Kiko can say for all of us. I don't think anybody is here, but I'm going to be right here.
Great. And I have border enforcement, and you guys can come forward and hang out with me up here. All right, 20 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Oh, that's fine. Is she not? Oh. Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this right here on this side. I would probably just put it right up here for a second. But,
So you're gonna add Debbie?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
What I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna send it straight to you. So what was the email that's gonna And I'll pull that up right. Thank you. That's okay. I'll see you. Perfect. There's that. And we'll just copy and paste it, so it's not a document.
Since I don't have anybody here, I'm going to go with the election.
Sounds like a Oh my God. Okay. Might be good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm proud of her. Thank you. And then probably I'm just going to be there for about, yeah.
Live stream also picks up audio pretty well.
Oh, good.
So, I'm sure it'll pick it up with all shared.
She could redirect. Is that directional, Mike?
I can move it to the other side. Thank you for letting me know.
Divided it up into some notions of, what could be classified as security. Some of it is environmental regulation, some of it is resilience, things like that. So I tried to divide it up. I'm hoping we share this spreadsheet. You guys can help me figure out what to call. So accountability, for example. What do we Yes. So here's what I have for us to So this is going to be the text of the bill. Just click on that. That will give you the bottom this is about his district. You can see right here. But I tried to do several things to classify them as then I have entitled that related to line that you see. Yes, basically, all of those are telling you what it really does. So I've done three things with this person. I said, we didn't classify it. Give me an entity. All the AIs work. So we can look at take it face value. And then have summary in no more than 1,000 words. And then an impact. And those are the things now. Science. What do we have? It's a it's one of the open source and I run it on my computer and all this stuff. I just run this on the no, I have not yet. So, anyway, so I was somewhere whether that's on it says it establishes the Texas Grid Security Commission as a representative of the state divisions and organizations focused on evaluating all hazards and anyway, so it has a whole summary of the bill. And then if it's a bill you want to read, then you go over here, you click on the bill, and that's the bill text from the TLN website. I can do it. Well, I just ran through a program and put it in a Word doc. I found putting in a spreadsheet. I can see more stuff at once. The Word doc was tougher. But I can go back and do that. Yeah. All the bills that have the same type are either duplicates or hanging bills. And I'll have those all listed in one set, and every time there's a duplicate listed, you see the 5 duplicates or complementary bills. And you can then explore whether.
And all their staff. So we went out. So here's your So that's. You will say hi to somebody.
This is awkward.
I'll send this to everybody, I think we we individually go through, the summaries, the attacks, the impacts. Look at those, you get a really good idea, and that's, under 2,000 words. You have to read it. I don't know if there's enough time right now, or if there's bills to Yes, well, I went through a classifier in my own way for the subcategories. I have resilience as a subcategory. Okay, so I have, then I have them by way to regulate management of energy generation facilities in the permitting process. I am an aspiring Republican. You have to look at that also. We're going to close it.
I don't know. Doing 144, figure out these years, at least I'll just take it's all verbal stuff. Did I write this not well. I've got to write something down. I can't write how to like I need to do my talks for myself too. That was get them ready to like come on meeting today. I'm gonna do that today.
That's it's related to the security regulations system. So he was paying 75, which is what's that? No, I just my
I just feel like, because it's in Gmail, like, everything is, like, it already knows what that's me.
Some of these are like retail customers and stuff.
I mean, I think it'd be easier if you just.
No, I don't know.
I was.
And now, I'll be okay with that.
I didn't mean it.
Don't you see first for years? Then just go box.
HB or SB, nothing.
Yeah, I'll go back and shoot.
We can get a chance one of these days, look at it. All those crazy
Some of these things I'm not So this one says, public transmission service in a critical energy producing region. So this district and Permian Basin. So it's to lead to improved infrastructure, resilience, reliability, and Permian Basin's electric transmission system. So we should review that. Democrat, this guy's very prolific. He's written brilliant things. So we have to be afraid of him. But I don't know. This is to explore feasibility. To explore the feasibility of transitioning overhead power lines and Gulf region to electrified infrastructure against resilience and extreme weather conditions. That could be okay. I don't know. We should do
That's very broad.
So that'll help us decide which of these we want to focus on. This I have is protect utility for operations. Ensure safety and fairness of risk services. There's a lot of retail stuff like that. Protect regions, outage. That second order stuff.
But we're not against it. I mean, we're not against it, but we're not.
Really, it's not the straightforward, it's if you have spare time, please go back and look at them. Here's another similar one. It says, enhanced utility planning for service rail athlete targeting all control customers. Enhance operational efficiency, inspection processes, and quality. Well, I think what it is, he's saying that this is the individual that go out there and X, Y, and Z, and they try and
The mic is over here. Well, I just want to make sure that our folks are hearing what we're saying.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
hand safety measures and awareness regarding products and hazards associated with portable generators. But again, if you have extra time, go back and read these regs later.
Any idea what's going on in the speaker trays, or is it all just rumor and rumor and rumor? It's hard to know what's actually happening. I need to do a live doc to the SREC meeting itself. What if I knew I wasn't done? So, yeah, what will normally happen during the meeting Will you be primary on that, or would Mike get a primary on that? Like if there's committee reports and stuff, like sometimes they'll have their own documents.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have my committee chairs.
So the document that I'll, so you can look over my shoulder here. So
Mary Kay, do you want to
and you'll, if you're the one scrolling, you'll get used to me doing this. This means go lower in the document. If I do this, but like, yeah, that's my body language. It's like, go higher, go lower, go lower. This will be tonight. So I guess I put it in the SREC only, and that's what it looked like. So it was, I mean, it ends up being really long because it's everything that we're actually doing in the meeting. And I use, colors are for my, almost more for me than for the body. So in the fourth quarter now, under SREC only, I don't have an SREC only.
Teaching her the ways.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out. We're public under, it's like a set of directories. I guess all of it is necessary. Yeah.
If we don't.
Oh, good. All the SREC are viewers. We don't want everybody to be editors. So I'm just checking that.
Please snap once.
Yeah, Mike.
You can get the sound of my voice. Snap 3 times. You know what? I like that. You can get the sound of my voice. Clap once. You can get the sound of my voice. Clap twice. Did you hear the sound of my voice? Clap 3 times. Thank you. Okay, you should be concluding your subcommittee at this point in time. And we're going to go ahead and have your chairs come to the front, if you wouldn't mind. We're going to go ahead and start with election integrity. So Leslie Thomas, and if you need to recognize your subcommittee, that would be amazing. I'm going to let you take it away. I'm just going to sit.
So Lisa Hendrickson was the co-chair of Election Integrity Subcommittee, but she's given up that position so that she can fully do her job on the Hill. Reshuffling, Andy Eller is the chair of the Election Integrity Standing Committee. So last session, Debbie Duke was both, and she was able, they have this flow. And so we asked him if he would be both the chair of the subcommittee and the standing committee. So he will be our new subcommittee, LP committee chair, and his committee, the EI committee, standing committee will also be the subcommittee of the LP committee. And the LP committee, subcommittee will also be the members of his EI standing committee. Got that?
Yeah. So is that clear as mud to everybody? All right. So basically, there are two. This is for online. This is just for online. So I'm trying to speak as loud as I can. All right. There are 2 committees with election integrity. There's a standing committee that the SREC puts together, which I was the vice chair, but will be becoming the chair due to some changes in the way we're going to do it. So being the chair of the Election Integrity Standing Committee is important because the LP also has election integrity in it. We are very unique in that perspective. We're the only, I guess, group that has a standing committee and an LP, Legislative Priorities Committee. So it makes sense. Debbie Duke was the committee chair last session for both. It makes sense for me to take over and do both for this session. So that's what I'm going to do, because there is continuity between it. The way the LP works is you must have platform planks that back up the LP. Well, with a standing committee, we are going to be looking very closely at bills that are coming forward in the legislature to advocate for them or actually try to get them killed if they're really bad bills. And with those, some of those would be LPs. So it makes sense for us to just meet together as a group from both the standing committee and the LP, which I will be putting together meetings starting early January as the session gets started. There'll be Zoom meetings for our committees to go through the bills, because there's already over 150 bills already filed for election integrity. Some are good, some are bad. I gave Leslie a list of, I don't know how many, maybe a half a dozen, maybe 8 bills that are actually good bills that we want to start advocating for that meet the LP. And I'll ask Leslie to come back up here in a minute to kind of give those bill numbers, but because I have the whole list here of the bills that have been filed for election integrity, and I didn't split it out to LP versus just the standing committee. So some of those will go to the standing committee, but some will also be LP. So that's how the whole process will work. So just so everybody knows, and then the folks that are on the LP subcommittee will be meeting with the Election Integrity Standing Committee probably once a week during session. We'll determine what bills go to LP, what bills go to the Standing Committee, and then we'll be able to develop our plans from there for each testifying and advocating for each of those great bills. So I'll let Leslie go ahead and talk about the very specific bills that we're looking at already.
Okay, if you want to, I'm going to give you the number and just a little one word. Okay, so right now, all these are Senate bills, SB. SB 104, having to deal with paper ballots. 107, paper ballots. 309, citizenship. 396, re-registering because of closed primaries. 505, and I didn't get that one. 507, a willful violation. 510, failure to comply. 511, voter registration cards. And then a couple in the House is 934 and 951. So a lot of the Senate side will have companions in the House side. So right now, this is what, only for the LP committees. The EIs have like, so I think Debbie said as of this morning, can y'all hear me? Okay, Debbie said as of this morning, there have been 165 election integrity votes filed. So, yeah. So real quick, I'll put this down.
Go for it.
Because I only have 2 hands. Okay, so y'all got one of these. Mary Jane Avery made these out for her SD district. I'm going to ask this committee to authorize us to make one of these for the state. It's a QR code. It talks about legislative priorities. It has our legislative priorities right here. It would be great to give out at the town hall meetings that we're going to have.
And Leslie, do you want to go ahead and talk about this town hall meeting?
Yes, if I can real quick. Okay, political science. So back in 1907, they were trying to squash the grassroots power. And these political science in the Ivy Leagues went and studied it to see how they could squash it. So y'all know about the fire triangle, right? You take away heat, it's gone. You take away oxygen, it's gone. You take away fuel, it's gone. You take out one of those away and you've killed the fire. It's the same way with grassroots politics. They have to have 3 things. have to have. Take out one of them and you destroyed that, you destroyed their fire. So the first one is communication, organization, and action. So you have to be able to communicate with one another, and that's what the town halls are. It's going out into the districts and having your town halls to educate people, the grassroots, on the priorities. And then and so that they can organize. So they will organize so that they'll be ready to go to Austin for action, to call or to visit. So that's why the town halls are so important. So I'm going to make this appeal. Please organize or talk to me and let's organize a town hall meeting in your district. And Jill Glover went to everything she was invited to, whether it was 300 people or 3. She would drive 7 hours for a meeting with 3 people. And I am committed to carry on her legacy. So please join us in keeping that legacy alive. That's it.
All of it? Okay, awesome. So that's the report of the election, or Secure Texas Elections is really sort of that particular priority that we're looking at. And Leslie is just phenomenal. Can't do this without you. So we're seeing Mary Jane Avery, and we're looking at potentially seeing if we can approve some sort of brochure kind of like this, or simple card that would help us give those out. Next up, I want to hear from Kristen Bentley. Oh, yes, sir.
Just real quick, when y'all do that, can you also get it done and get it to us in digital form?
In digital format,
I
yeah.
think this would be great to get out to all
Or
our constituents.
that may be an option too, where we can get it in digital format so that you guys can actually, if you have contacts with printers in your area, that might be something that might be a better, yeah,
Text it out.
for sure. So is Mary Jane in here? Did I see Mary Jane? Mary Jane's in the back of the room. Wave, Mary Jane. So next, Kristen Bentley, if you wouldn't mind.
You want us to come out?
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah. So, hi everybody, Kristen Bentley, Stop Sexualizing Texas Kids. Y'all know that we had this as a legislative priority last session. We accomplished a lot in the last session. 5 of our endorsed bills ended up passing. But there's more work to do. And so we want to complete the job during this legislative session and not have to have this as a priority again. So my committee has already met. We started on, I think it was November 22nd, and we analyzed 8 bills at that time. We haven't endorsed any of them, but I can go ahead and give you the bill numbers. There's 5 bills that relate to affirmative defenses for pornography and sexual performance of a child. They're SB 89 by Senator Hall, HB 267 by Patterson, SB 242 by Flores, HB 947 by Toth, and HB 995 by Toth. And so we analyzed these, and very similar to some of the bills that were filed last session. Is there ever a reason to give a child porn?
No.
That's a question.
Is there ever a reason to have a child perform sexually for an adult?
No.
Texas law says otherwise. Texas law says otherwise. We have affirmative defenses to 43.24 and 43.25 in our law. Giving a child porn is 43.24. Having a child perform sexually for an adult is 43.25. There is no reason to have affirmative defenses for these things in the law. An affirmative defense, for the non-lawyers in the room like myself, is that you're guilty of it, but the state gives you a reason, a legal reason to do it, so you get away with it. 7 states do not have affirmative defenses to give a child pornography. Arizona is one of them, Oklahoma is one of them. Texas should be one of them. Most states do not have affirmative defenses for a child to perform sexually for an adult. Texas does not need affirmative defenses to that. We are not going to settle. If Arizona doesn't give the sheriff or a judge an affirmative defense to giving a child porn, then we don't need to either. If most states don't give the legislature or a police officer an affirmative defense for a child to perform sexually, Texas does not need to either. And so we are not endorsing any of these bills yet because none of them have met that standard that we want to see. The delegates are clear, the Legislative Priorities Committee was clear, no affirmative defenses. It's reprehensible. We don't need them, we want them removed, and that's what we're looking for. We're glad that to all of our legislators, to those 5 who started the conversation and got those bills filed, but we're looking for 0 affirmative defenses. Human sexuality opt-in, those are the other 3 bills that we looked at. SB 87 by Senator Hall, SB 371 by Campbell, and HB 1150, I think it's 1158. I think my glasses, Hall, by Hall. Yes, please. So these are all opt-in to human sexuality. Last session, we were not able to get that passed, and we went back to opt-out. So parents now have to find an opt-out slip that comes home or is emailed and sign that, or their child is in human sexuality instruction. So it's very important to us that or to the state, to the children, that we get that opt-in back in there. And so these are all really good bills. We have not endorsed them yet because we're looking at maybe a few amendments that we'd like to see. So I do expect that we're going to be endorsing some bills here in the next coming few weeks. The committee over December will not meet every Friday. After that, starting in January, my committee will be meeting every single Friday to analyze legislation and to work. We are a very hardworking committee. It's why we've had the success I think that we have had. And I have all kinds of subject matter experts on there. Oh, and on a variety of things, because the priority covers a lot, as you can see. So if you have any questions, if you ever want to join us, please let me know. I would love to see more SREC members on there. Tom Novis is on my committee, and you know that's a value. Yes. So thank you, Deborah. Here, let me just look real quick, make sure I got the number correct, and then I'll be done. Sure. Okay. 1158. HB 1158. Thank you, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Okay. So we heard Stop Sexualizing Texas Kids. Up next, we have our favorite topic of the hour, no Democrat chairs, which is very self-explanatory, but I think Deborah will have some updates for us on the speaker's race and how all of that is progressing. You all know Dave Phelan officially dropped out of the race, right? We're excited about Dave Phelan dropping out of the race, and we're excited to be monitoring the speaker's race, but at the same time, Brent Money actually put out a statement on Twitter the other day that was just Twitter X, formerly known as, that I thought really spoke to the heart of what's going on. It's not necessarily about one person or one individual, it's what the delegates had voted on at convention, and we want to make sure that transparency at the end of the day, that accountability is what we are pushing for. And that's what really spoke to the heart of a lot of us at convention these last 4 years in a row now. Because what'll happen is, as you all know, you'll have Republicans come back home to their districts and explain why it is that they can't get legislative priorities done, or emergency, like affirmative defenses, giving porn to kids, or border security issues. I mean, we had to pull teeth in order to make that happen. So there's some things that just have a lot of reluctancy I promise I'll let you talk. But I do want to make sure that it's very clear that it's not about the personality as much as it is about the commitment to the grassroots and making sure that we're going back to, yes, we want no Democrat chairs because at the end of the day, we want to hold our legislators accountable. There is no excuse for a Republican to come home and say, oh, we couldn't get it done because there was a Democrat chair holding things up in calendars, or there was a Democrat on jurisprudence holding things up. We don't want to hear the excuse, you couldn't get it done. They're Republicans, they ran as Republicans, they agree with the platform, they agree with our priorities. So many of them said, hey, we've got our marching orders right after convention. So I'm very encouraged to see all of that, but we do want to make sure that at the end of the day, it is no Democrat chairs. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Deborah, Deborah's got buses and she's got all kinds of things to talk about. So I'll let you take it away. Go for it.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's so true. Yeah, I'm actually getting updates by the minute on where things are standing, and I just got one from the person leading the caucus on Saturday. But so I'll just start with there because everybody's kind of curious. I mean, the thought is that David Cook will win on the first round at 62. It won't even take a second round to the 53. For some reason, Dustin Burrows, I was shocked. I thought he was going to try to go to the floor on January 14th and win with 14 Republicans to cross the aisle and vote with 62 Democrats. But he thinks he's going to try to win in caucus. Now, he's going to have to win 62 votes if that's truly what David Cook has, and 53 on the second round. And it's Tom Oliverson, and he said that he has been working with all of the reformers who have signed, and they're all staying strong, and they're all sticking together. So that being said, it's very unlikely that Dustin Burrows is going to be able to come out being the Republican nominee Saturday. But, but what we're going to be having to come out running and racing and being proactive is between now and January 14th, because like I said, there still is the path, which would be joining the Democrats. And hopefully that's not going to work, because I've also been told that the Democrats weren't really all behind Phelan. He was having a hard time because some of the Democrats are kind of wanting to become more moderate. But what we're going to have to, sure.
Yeah, so the latest update that we saw was that Dustin Burrows went to the Democrat caucus meeting last night.
Right.
And he promised them, he said that if they get behind him, he will stop
School choice, right.
And he will
Gambling.
But he would keep no Democrat chairs. So he would stop school choice, he would stop the ban on taxpayer-funded lobbying in exchange for their support.
Yeah. But so we kind of knew that's been their key. They do not want school choice to pass. That's where most of the lobbyists and the money is. But so now that it's potentially it's doubtful we'll find 14, because you've got Dade Phelan, Burrows, and one other female that kind of came out and said that she's not going to vote for Cook. So that means she's voting for someone else. So that's going to leave 11. So what we're going to do is fill your buses. I'm trying. I've got a lot of hope. I'm raising money. Fill your buses. We're going to try to, help everyone. I'm recommending that everyone at least charge $25. I mean, even if I have a paid for a bus, I'm still charging $25 because I want to use that money to help someone else. So there'll be another link. I know the last one was just pretty in-depth and confusing because there were so many plays, step 1, step 2, the caucus, the floor vote. And so I'm going to be putting out by Sunday a very simple email. I used it 2 years ago, and it was just very, very simple. You know, ABC, click here to buy your t-shirt, click here to ride a bus. So what we've done is there's one link that covers all of Texas. So when they sign up, it's going to categorize what county, what district, what HD, so that we can organize and get to a county leader or to a Republican women's group or to an SREC, whoever's organizing. So we'll have all the names together. But some of my districts are organizing on their own because they have like Republican women groups and they feel like they can fill their buses on their own. So I'm leaving it up to the bus captains. But when we send this out, I'm sending it to every county chair, and the RPT is sending it out. And so we'll have, you know, that one link and kind of organize it from there. So if every one of you can help organize, because it's just so critical. And like Bob Hall said at Grassroots of America when we were speaking there after it was over, he came to the front and he said, don't look at any bills. Don't even, you know, it's even filing bills. If we don't get a good speaker, then it's going to be like walking through molasses, he said. So, you know, a lot is riding on us getting getting away from the Democrat control. So does anybody have any questions? Sure.
Is it verified what boroughs offer the Democratic caucus?
You know, who knows? His first child, I don't know.
That was reported by Scott Braddock, so take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, and I had heard the same thing. What Phelan was doing was promising them no school choice, and of course committees. And as it turns out, it's not like he had the 62. I always thought it was they were leveraging, knowing he needed them this time. Last time he won with all but 6 Republicans, so he's always just easily controlled the speakership. And so, you know, so I don't know which one it is, but I do know that if we're there and we're witnessing those 14 walking the aisle, it's going to be pretty difficult, because who could ever come back from that? What district would ever reelect somebody that blatantly is going to leave his party and go with 62 Democrats? So anyway, does anybody else have any questions? Sure.
Are there no other candidate names being discussed?
No, I mean, there was a rumor that more would jump in, but right now we're looking at boroughs, and it was very critical, and that's why we weren't even looking at January 14th. We had to have a Republican nominee, because if we didn't have a Republican nominee on January 14th, no one would be bound, and it would be like herding cats. And then all these reformers that have made the pledge, which should have made it anybody, every Republican should have honored the platform, but it would have been really, really in Phelan's favor if we didn't have a nominee. But it looks like we've got the nominee. So now we've just got to try to get to the January 14th. When we get to the floor, I would think that they would probably either try to get behind one, and then, but as the weeks roll out, we're going to hear more and more, because every day it's just crazy and changes. So, but anyway, be looking for an email from the party. It's going to be very, very simple. I've got a website on there. You can go to the website, get all the information you need, all the updates, you know, who the holdouts are to call, who the reformers are to thank, and keep up with that. Do you want me to go into the Texas land is not for sale?
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
Hang
Here,
out.
why don't
Hang
you
out for a
take one of
second.
these?
One of
Okay.
these. What is this? Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so real quickly, just to cap off on that, Deborah has done a lot of work. Can we get her around? And this information is available online right now. It has the t-shirts that you can that you can send to your districts to have them ordered. I think Galen had already started on production of several of them. So it's the same situation as last year. It's band Democrat chairs, very basic red shirt. If you already have yours, great, wear it. If not, there's an opportunity to upgrade or downsize. Because I see several of you look amazing. Yes, Miss Jamie Haynes in the back. Oh, the URL is banddemocratchairsinfo.com. And yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I have 200 t-shirts here.
Oh.
So if anybody wants to buy their t-shirt, I think I've probably got about, 30 pledged, but there's a lot of t-shirts here.
Good. Oh, yeah, that's right. So the idea is that we all show up at the Capitol, we're all wearing red, we all have this incredible opportunity, and hopefully on January 14th, we see an amazing turnover on the House floor. I don't anticipate it being an easy process. I anticipate a lot of backroom dealing going on, and I anticipate some lost tempers and lots of rumors, because that's how this thing works. But at the end of the day, we want to remind our legislators that they're accountable to their districts, they're accountable to the grassroots, and they are accountable to each other. They should be able to respect each other enough to not promise things that they can't follow through on. So I'm really excited to see the excitement over this. Y'all can send this out to your districts and make sure that your area leaders and things like that have this information. January 14th will be here before you know it. I think it's in 7 weeks. Last time I checked, I think it's like 5 Saturdays from today or something or from tomorrow. So it's around the corner. So make sure that people have this date on their calendar at the very least to either be praying for, calling, emailing, or supporting, those who are coming here. Up next, let's see here. Who do I have next? Let's go back here. And y'all, just so you know, this is really, I love what the Texas, what we did with the website. The website looks phenomenal. This is on your texasgop.org. Just go here, and you can either go to official documents, or you can hand over here to this little pound, and you click right there, and it says legislative priorities, and da-da-da-da. Did everybody already know that? I hope so. Smiling and nodding, yes. So this looks fabulous. Anytime you want to send this link, or if you are speaking in your districts, this is very, very helpful. So up next, let's go ahead and Dr. Melinda Morris. Are you ready? Okay. Awesome. We're going to do the electric grid.
All right, good morning. We've been meeting as a committee monthly on Zoom since September. So there were a lot of things to just kind of jump into. Our Secure the Electric Grid is actually supporting plank number 41 in the platform. So we have 4 main categories that we want to support. Number 1 is adding baseload capacity to the electric grid system. Number 2, resilience measures. Number 3 is involving affordability and trying to limit the wind and solar production, the subsidies associated with them. We have to look at the financial aspect of that, because whenever you're providing backup power to the wind and the solar, that's going to be very costly. But I think with Trump being elected president now, he's going to be pro-energy, drill baby drill. So I think legislation that maybe we would have had difficulty pushing through under Democratic rule will be able to be a lot more successful. And we want to oppose any interference with the Texas grid from us joining the U.S. grid. We want to keep our Texas grid sovereign, protect it from China. So that's going to be another one of our main categories that we're going to support legislation for. And we also want to look at producing a bill regarding the EMP protection. We're actually looking for a legislative sponsor that'll help us write a bill in that category. So those are the legislative items that we're going to be supporting. Right now, we fully support SB 75, which is Senator Bob Hill's bill. This is similar to the SB 330 bill that he submitted in the ADA session. He's actually submitted a bill 5 straight times, and it's been defeated all 5 times. But we're going to do everything we can to help push his legislation through. The other things we're going to be doing is we're going to be reaching out to electric companies in the different counties. We're going to get people involved at a county level through the county parties. We want to develop grid warriors. So if we have an electric company that's not cooperating or supporting our agenda, or if we've got particular legislation that we want to push through, we'll be reaching out at a grassroots level so that our grid warriors can be involved and help push this legislation through. So that's it for now. We'll be meeting probably on a really close, regular basis from this point on so that we're ready for the opening of legislation. Questions?
Companies, does that include co-ops?
Yes. Yep. And oh, yes. And then the big thing we're pushing is, I don't know if there's several really good movies out about the power grid, because most people don't even think about power until the lights go out. But these are very, very excellent videos. One's on YouTube. It's Grid Down, Power Up. Another one is called Red Power. And we've got little cards that we'll give you if you're interested in viewing these videos. And I've got the web links as well. But everybody needs to be educated on the importance of the grid and how vulnerable it is. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, I love that idea of being able to go into your local counties and making sure that folks are understand, because we have a deregulated market for the most part in Texas. There's only certain areas that are still heavily regulated like that. And so it's a very interesting dynamic. We've only been that way, I think, since 1990 something or other. So it is very, very interesting to kind of see how all of that plays into, servicing our population demands on top of, having your transmission lines connecting into the national power grid or even the eastern or the western side. Because there's only three? There's only 3 in the nation. So, and Texas is a big one. But with our population demands lately, it's been difficult to keep up on top of, your renewables. Your renewables that may or may not be so renewable. Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm from Bernie and the Comfort area of Texas, and we have a South Korean energy storage supplier that is, I think, is going to connect to the grid. I think that's the reason why it all happens. And Ellen Troxclair has there's a lot of environmental concerns, and they've put it in a residential area. I'm wondering should I talk to you? Is this the right
Yes.
place? Okay.
Yes. And if you,
Ellen Troxclair has put a bill up to at least move those to commercial areas and not.
Great.
Well, and the concern is, it's not just gonna happen only in Kendall,
Yes.
it's gonna spread to the entire state.
Yeah.
We'll be meeting as a group later on today, and we invite everybody to join us.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, good. Awesome. What time today? Do you know?
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Put it on your calendar. Okay. Miss Deborah, welcome back. And we're going to discuss Texas is not for sale. And then we'll hear from Imperial Overreach, and we'll get you guys out of here on time.
Okay. So again, on the House side, they've saved the bills 1 through 150. On the Senate side, they've saved the bills 1 through 40. So until we know who the speaker is, we really don't know what's going to be the priority bills, 1 through 50 or 1 through 40. And but hopefully, Texas Land is Not for Sale is going to pass. It passed the Senate. Lois Kolkhorst had a great bill that passed the Senate, but Phelan killed it. It was watered down a little bit in the Senate to not include, mineral water. It only applied to agriculture. And currently, there are 26 states that have some kind of restrictions on foreign nationals owning land. And we need to be number 27. Because in Texas, we're not percentage-wise the lead, but acreage-wise, we have more acreage owned by foreign nationals than any other state. So what I've done is I've done a chart, and we can somehow get it to everybody, but we don't have that many bills filed, but the ones that are carrying the weight is going to be HB 191, and this was by David Spiller. And then we have HB 243 by David Spiller. We have HB 402 by Briscoe Kane, HB 518 by Terry Leo Wilson, and then on the Senate side, we have Bob Hall, SB 103, and then on Senator Lois Coker, SB 307. So what I've done here is I've done a graph, a chart, and I'll get it to you, but I've outlined every bill and categorized where they stand on mineral rights, where they stand on giving the Attorney General power to come in. So we'll can email y'all, so the work is pretty much done now on what? Okay. So any questions on this topic? Oh, by the way, there is a large percentage of voters in Cole Hefner's district, and I can give you the number, that opposed Texas land being for sale. So that's going to be, who we're going to have to get through is his committee.
Deborah, real quick, so a lot of the land is bought through LLCs, who traces that? I mean, like, tracks it through to make sure, because so all of the, other countries that own land right now, what will happen to them? Will they just turn around and sell, like your thoughts? Sell to an LLC? I mean, that's what's going on with the land on the river. So, how do you fight that?
Well, I even put in another report that I'm going to send out. It was in case, I don't think we're going to be speaking tomorrow, but in case we did, not everybody's reporting accurately, but where I got this report, it was from, let me see, the USDA reporting system, and that isn't even accurate, but that's where I took the information, which I'll show, and I'll get this out, the percentage of states that have foreign entities owning them, and, but, I mean, I'm sure we all saw Sarah Huckabee Sanders. How many names? I feel like her, though, too. I have a lot of names. But anyway, they've outlawed and taking back that land. And that's what we need to do. I mean, we are red. We're supposed to be red. And we're supposed to be very conservative. And this is the highest supported voted bill ever in Texas, 95%.
Is Arkansas the leading state on this in terms of good legislation?
Well, there's 26 states right now that have some form of prohibition.
Which state is really the model?
Let me go back to this one where Arkansas, because I've got that outlined in my other report that, and I'll tell you where Arkansas is. Okay.
Maybe that's a conversation. Oh.
Well, let's see. The percentage, Maine has more than 21%, Hawaii 13, I'm going to get to Arkansas, then followed by Alabama, Michigan, Louisiana, Nevada, and Florida, each of which have more than 8% of their private ag land owned by foreign. I'll get to Arkansas here. In Texas, our percentage of foreign ownership is not as high. It's continuing to increase. It's doubled since 2021, but we have more actual acreage that is foreign owned than any other state, reaching roughly 5.5 million acres. nearly 3% of all of our private land. And this is nearly the equivalent of the state of New Jersey, and those numbers have nearly doubled in the past 10 years. Let me see where I get to Arkansas. 5.5 million acres were identified being owned by Chinese nationals, but have mentioned those numbers and could be higher because of the lack of enforcement with the USDA reporting system. Well, I know I saw somebody here in Arkansas.
Well, I'll tell you what, if
So I'll get that to you.
Yeah, we can definitely get that offline, or if you want to include that in the report as a whole, we'll send that around.
Okay.
We'll send that to everybody.
Okay.
The question really is, what state has the model,
This-
the best statute?
Right.
Well, it's going to be Texas.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We're gonna get there. We'll get there.
I think right now it's Arkansas.
Okay.
But yes, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. And y'all, I skipped a priority. So we're going to hear from band taxpayer funded lobbying, which is actually front and center right now because of our speaker race. So, Janira Lewis.
Hi, thank y'all. Okay, so our platform 212 is our supporting platform. We primarily focus on TML, Texas Municipal League, and TASB, the Texas Association of School Boards. What they do essentially is taxing entities take your money and go to Texas and they pass legislation, or they get legislation passed against your values and against your best interests using your taxpayer-funded money. For instance, Texas Municipal League, they force lawsuits. They force cities to settle lawsuits when they don't want to. And the reason they can do that is because they provide the risk pool insurance for the municipalities. So we pay in using taxpayer-funded money, and they tell us what to do with that money. And they also provide legal services, sorta. They send and fill our email boxes. I'm on the city council. They fill our inboxes with information on how to counter conservative legislation. Yeah, with your money. They also provide employment services for city managers and city secretaries. And then they encourage all elected officials, when there are problems with the citizens, to just shunt all those problems to those employees. So they're just they're encouraging bypassing your elected officials. Let's see here. TML also has 3 full-time lobbyists that we pay for. Yep. Okay, so TASB is supporting a candidate right now on an election challenge. So that's with your money. You have a candidate being sued in an election challenge, and with your taxpayer-funded money, they're supporting the opposing candidate. So it's very odd. It's very wrong. Also, TML has done a recent presentation called Shake the Money Tree. That was made to your elected officials. What is shaking the money? Who is the money tree? We are the money tree, yeah. So they are teaching elected officials how to take more money out of your pockets. Other groups outside TML and TASB, including TASB, they actually are hiding criminals, protecting criminals. So we have repeat hires of criminals who have offended, and then they repeat offend once they get rehired. So historically, these bills, the ban taxpayer-funded lobbying, has passed in the Senate, but again, it fails in the House. So we absolutely need to take care of our speaker issue. Right now, we took 3 votes in our committee. Oh, by the way, thank you, Scott Bowen, Jeremy Story, Rhonda Ward. Yes, and we are going to be supporting the Middleton bill, SB 239. Yes, and there's other companion bills, several of which are identical. So that will be HB 309, HB 571, HB 671, 1189, and HB 1294. That is Leo Wilson, Kane, Shaheen, Troxclair, and Patterson. We also voted to support SB 1309. That is companion legislation that prohibits or restricts training by TASB of anything that includes CRT or the like. We also encourage legislation to be filed that creates a risk pool outside, a state-funded risk pool that the cities will pay for, of course, but a risk pool so that we can take the risk pool away from TASB and TML. Those all passed unanimously. That's all. So any questions or anything? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because you mentioned it, Nathan Middleton had the best school choice bill. This last one was watered down. It was a nothing burger. It was just saying pass school choice. But he told me that we will never, ever get a solid school choice bill passed until we end taxpayer-funded lobbying.
Right, taxpayer-funded lobbying. While we have taxpayer-funded lobbying, we actually can hardly get any of those priorities passed that we want. TASB is against school choice. They want to limit charter schools. They also want foreign students to be tested in their own language. They want more psychiatrists. So all of these actually stop sexualizing Texas kids. It does. So we actually need this one thing. It's so simple. How on earth can any elected official, any representative even vote against this? I mean, I can come up with some reasons. I don't know. And they don't have to explain to us why, because it just dies in the House. So hopefully we can get this one through, because everything else, every priority that we're working on in here is dependent on this one. Anyway, thank you all so much. Ready? Okay.
Engineer is awesome. Up next, no, you're great. Chuck, oh no, sorry. John with no H and 2 R's, John Carr. Okay, take it away.
I was going to say that the first things first is if you're going to misspell and mispronounce car and spell it K-E-R, you got to spell John, J-O-N. I'm on the Stop Federal Overreach. There's 2 major areas in which we're looking at. One of them is medical freedom. The other is freedom to travel. How many of y'all are aware that on the national level, there is a kill switch requirement in 2026 where your cars are just not going to work? You know, the Bible says that God places into position of leadership those that he wants. And I thought, you know, when he when Biden got into office, I thought God fell asleep. But there must have been a good reason, because America has awakened to the fact that Biden and his ilk are trying to take over everything about our freedom and to lose it. So this committee is principally looking at those 2 things. But there's others that involved, I believe that involved within this area, and one of them is the bullion bill. You know, Texas has a bill up to use gold and silver as legal exchange here in the state, which is a good bill. And then the Texas Sovereignty Act is up this time as well. So if you have any suggestions to me, let me have them. But God bless Texas.
Love it. Thank you. All right. We are wrapping things up pretty rapidly because we do kind of have to get out of here. But I do want to let Micah Kavanaugh come up. He's got a quick announcement from the chairman. Everybody knows Micah, right? Our political director. Yes, y'all can applaud. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, go for it.
I just wanted to let you know, Micah Kavanaugh, political director at RPT. Wanted to let y'all know that we're doing a thing that we just got approved last week. The chairman's in favor of it, and I've been working with some designers. We're going to take the legislative priorities, and we're going to make a little booklet. And they're going to have the legislative priorities in that booklet with some memo pads and then a letter from the chairman just welcoming the Republicans back to session. We can't wait to see what you're going to do. And oh, by the way, these are important. Your constituents voted for them. And so just reminding them of that, welcome them. We're going to put it in a little packet, and we're going to get that hand-delivered to each Republican's office as kind of a, hey, welcome, but also, you know, remember your fidelity, your important fidelity to duty here, which is commitment to these things. So just want to let you guys know that, and we appreciate the work you're doing. And we want to make sure to push that on our end as well to make sure they remember the prioritization of what we're doing here. So anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So remember, our role here is as ombudsman. So we are here to advocate for these priorities, but we also want to make sure our grassroots know too. So grassroots have to know to make the calls to their legislators, to visit with their legislators, or to eventually primary out their legislators, or to thank them, right? But we also have to be able to have those relationships with our legislators. So I'm very excited for that particular opportunity. The last one, which is last but not least, I kind of went out of order. But border enforcement was the top, by far and away, most important. And remember, these priorities are priorities because they are emergency level items. When we talk about Stop Sexualizing Texas Kids, we talk about the grid, we talk about our border, those are emergency level items. So border enforcement is my committee, and we just met just briefly up here with Adolfo Tellez and Kelly Perry and Rebecca, where's she at? Wave your hand, awesome. And we've got a couple more that are going to be nominated on that committee as well, who weren't here today. But it's a Herculean task, and our legislators are up to the challenge of making this work. But this top one is very important in making sure that we have an independent Texas Department of Homeland Security. We've had it before, we can do it again. It's totally something within our purview, and we should be able to secure our own border through whatever means necessary. We should be able to do it, but not through Band-Aid solutions. It needs to be something that's specifically tasked and accountable to the legislature and the governor. We have prohibiting with mandatory fines and jail with nonprofits, so NGOs, corporations that are incentivizing. We're trying to end those magnets. We're looking at requiring the use of E-Verify. We have, for government agencies right now, they all require E-Verify. For non-government agencies, they don't. So there's been a couple of bills that are introduced to deal with contractors or subcontractors that work with government organizations. We have also ending the subsidies and public services, including in-state college tuition. That was a bill that was proposed at the very last possible second last session. It's coming back up again, though. I'm very excited to see that. So with all of that, are there any other questions? Okay. I believe, Leslie, did I miss anything? Okay. I'm going to take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yes, and second, thank you. Y'all are dismissed. Okay. Thanks.
Sort of listening, working on something else here.
Oh, no, I don't think
Yes.
it's nice.
You got through a lot of content, like